To be honest, whenever I do questions like this, I always overcomplicate it and use speed equals distance over time with some algebra. I manipulate it, and then I tend to get to the answer, but I don't do it in the most efficient way. So I'm going to show you the most efficient way that I looked at after I'd solved it. In the solutions, and then I'll show you how I did it as well. So we have this 100-meter race, and the hare is finished, whilst the tortoise is 75 meters behind, which means that the tortoise has moved 25 meters. That means that the hare has traveled 4 times the distance in the same amount of time, and therefore the velocity or the speed for the hare is going to be 4 times the speed for the tortoise. Now they are opposite ends, and the tortoise is continuing to run this way at the speed, and the hare is now running the opposite way. They've turned around. So they're running at 4 vt. This actually gives a relative velocity of 5 vt. And what it means, the thing you have to realize is that, right, this is 75 meters. Actually, they're going to meet somewhere here, and in that, the distance that the hare will have traveled will be 4/5 of 75, whilst the tortoise would have traveled 1/5 of 75. Hope that makes sense because the relative velocity essentially is 5 lots of the tortoise's speed. So that is going to be the answer. We can do 75 divided by 5, which is 15, and then do 4 times 15, which gives an answer of 60. Okay, really neat, it's got to be said. Now here's the longer way. This is how I did it. So I first of all basically said the same thing, that the speed of the hare was 4 times the speed of the tortoise. That's something that you've got to work out. You can, I mean, technically, I think what did I do? I didn't go straight to it, to be fair. I think I said that the velocity of the hare was going to be 100 divided by the time that it took, and the velocity for the tortoise was going to be 25 over the time that it took. And that kind of helped me get to that, but that's not really needed. But I'm just telling you how I did it. And then now on this the second journey, we know they're going to meet there. So I actually called this one X, and this one is going to be 75 minus X. So for the hare, now this we've got speed equals distance over time. So V for the hare is going to be the distance moved, 75 minus X divided by the time taken. Now I call this T2 because it's like this, it's not the same as T, it's going to be the second time. And V for the tortoise is going to be X divided by T2. They don't have to travel as far. Now that means that 75 minus X is going to be the velocity of the tortoise times T2, and X is going to be the velocity of the velocity of the hare times T2, and this one's going to be the velocity of the tortoise times T2. And if I add these together, then I'm going to get that the velocity of the hare times T2 plus the velocity of the tortoise times T2 is going to equal 75. Now, actually, I could have said that right at the start. I'm just talking about how I did it. I kind of fumbled my way through it, but we've got this formula now. But this X is going to come in useful because actually this is what I'm trying to calculate. Now, remember, we have that where's it gone? VH is 4 VT. It's time to bring that in. 4vt. I can replace vh by 4vt. t2 plus vt t2 is equal to 75. And that means 5vt t2 is equal to 75. And now I can bring back in the fact that vt is actually x over t2. And actually, what this turns out to be is just a much more complicated way of getting to what we got over here, the fact that the tortoise has gone 1/5 of the distance in in the time that it takes the hare and the tortoise to meet. Um, it's just that if that wasn't intuitive to you, then you can at least get it by following through this algebra. And similarly, the hare would then be 4/5. But what I did was work out x. So x is then going to be 75 divided by 5. It's going to be 15, which means that 75 minus 15, which is the distance the hare has moved, is 60. So I make no apologies for going through that. It's just an alternative way, definitely unnecessarily complicated, but I don't think this is obvious. Even though I understand it now, I'll probably end up doing the long way next time I do this question.